Zogt the Heilige Mishnah Memches Amud Aleph. So again, the game plan is, now we're on screen, the game plan is we have tonight, and then we have next week. The plan is we have 3 short Mishnayos, and then we're going to have about a week and a half to do a Meir Dika Chazara. We're going to choose a place, and we're going to do it right. But for now, Zogt the Heilige Mishnah. Ha-Halel v'ha-Simcha. Hallel, I think we know what that is. Simcha, what is Simcha? Rashi says it refers to the carbon, shlamim. Hallel v'ha-Simcha, Shemaina is 8 days of Yontif. And as whether you did Chazar recently or not, you remember the pattern of the previous Mishnayos, which were dealing with the amount of days that we do Sukkah, the amount of days we do Lulav, the amount of days we do Shechianu, v'chulu. So says the Mishnah, Hallel v'ha-Simcha Shemaina. Ketzad, how do we do this? Melamed shechayiv adam behalel. This teaches us. Melamed, it teaches us. Shechayiv adam, one is obligated behalel to say halel ubesimcha, and the carbon shlamim ube kavod yom tov ha'achroin shel chag, and in the kavod of Yom Tif, the honor of Yom Tif, of Achron Shel Chag, the last day of Yom Tif, Kishar Kol Yemoy Sachag, like all other days of Yom Tif. So this Mishnah is really Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Shehakol Nihiyeh B'Dorei. This Mishnah really comes on the heels of the previous discussion, because we've just finished discussing how Shemini Atzeres, there's Yei Sukkah, there's Nei Sukkah, there's Shechianu, there's no Shechianu, it's its own Yontif. So at this point, one might make a grave error, and one might come to think that maybe day 8 isn't really a Yontif. So that's really where our Mishnah starts. And our Mishnah starts that Hallel and Simcha, the carbon shlamim, saying Hallel is for all 8 days, and we have to have the kavod of the end of Yontif, like the whole Yontif. So says the Gemara, this sounds nice and dandy, but minahani mili. From where do you know this? We need a mikar. And Rashi over here really gives us a little more insight as to why we need the makar. Look at Rashi. Minahani mili. Rashi says, from where do we know dishmini chayiv b'simcha? How do we know day 8 there's a chayiv simcha, which we know that means the carbon? The haloi ksiv bei behedya. It does not say it explicitly. Ella, rather, b'shivas yemei chag. We only have open and explicit psukim, techsiv, that say, chag sukkah is ta'aselecha, and v'samach lei, and it says nearby, v'samachta b'chagecha. So we know Chag HaSukkos, which is the 7 days of Sukkos, have a din of v'samachta b'chagecha, to have simcha. What does it mean to have simcha? It means to have the carbon shlamim, which we parenthetically know Bisman Hazeh. How do we have simcha? By having your carbon shlamim. We don't have a carbon shlamim, so what do we have? We have basar v'yayin. We have gishmak esudais. That's in the place of the carbon shlamim. But says the Gemara Minani Mili, the Mishnah said it's 8 days. How do you know? We only know a precedent for 7 days. Explains the Gemara, Ditanu Rabbanon. We learned in a brayso, v'ha'isa, and it shall be, and it is sameach, only joyous. Sameach. What does that mean? What does that mean? Le rabbis, that comes to include Leilei Yom Tov Achrein. The word ach sameach, anytime you say you should only have this, you're coming to include something. You should be nothing but joyous. So what do we come to include? So says the Gemara, maybe it's coming to include Yom Tov Achron. Rashi's going to spell this out a little bit deeper in a moment. But let's first learn the Gemara. The rabbi is to include Leilei, the night of Yom Tov Achron, the last day of Yom Tov. That's one way. Oy einoi, again, as the Gemara classically does, the Gemara speaks out its thought process. Le rabbis to include Leilei Yom Tov Achron. Oy einoi, or maybe Ela Yom Tov Harishon. Maybe it's only what it's the pasuk vayisei ach sameach is including the first days of Yontif. And I don't know if you have a letter on the side of your Gemara, but it adds in the word Leile. You see that letter? Before the word Yontif Harishon. You have a little letter over there or no? What it goes somewhere on the side of your Gemara, it's an Aleph, I think, comes to include Leile Yontif Harishon. It's a little bit easier to understand. Meaning, it's for sure that Vayisa Ach Sameach is coming to include something. So we know that the daytime has a din of simcha, and now we know Vayisa Ach Sameach, it's including something. So we have two things it's including. Either it's including the first night or the last night. Now I know it's bothering everyone here is what's the chiddush? Night and day in Yiddishkeit are the same, right? Today starts last night, right? This is where everyone got all confused. We say the same Talmud Mater, we start on December 5th, the 4th at night. That's where everyone got all confused. Because wait, no, it's the English date.
Tonight, we say Baba.
You're right, but everyone got all confused because December 5th is tomorrow. It's the English date. So what do we do? Do we do it tomorrow? Do we do it tonight? Everyone getting all famished. There's nothing to get confused for. It goes by the English, the Hebrew day goes by the night before.
First night you have to wait for the sukkah. So that's why the doc is spelling out
maybe. That would be the sad, maybe extra. Very good. Very good. But the question is, good. So it's coming to include something. I'm just speaking out that there's a chiddush here. Good. Very good. Very good. So maybe it's including the first night. Maybe it's including the last night. Kishehu oimer. When the pasuk says ach is a stopping word. Cholak. It divides the pasuk. And from the fact that it divides the pasuk, the Gemara assumes right now, and we don't really know why it has this assumption, but let's allow the Gemara its assumption. Gemara assumes it's coming to include the last night. Okay, the Gemara did not articulate how it got there, but let's continue. Says the Gemara, Umar Rois. Now, Umar Rois is one of the greater questions of the Gemara. The Gemara says, how do you know? Umar Rois. Literally, and what do you see? Rois from the word of Via. How do you see it? Meaning, anytime we have a weighted debate, go first or go last. Gemara says, okay, so it goes last. How do you know? You know it's including something. So ach comes and stops something. Okay, but who told you it's the last? Maybe it's the first. Meaning the Gemara is almost forgiving itself, saying, you didn't really answer your question. Umar Rois, how do you know what you just said? Says the Gemara, Le rabbis, Umar Rois, and how do you know Le rabbis Leile Yontav Hachroin to include the night of the last day of Yontif, Ule Hoitzi, and to exclude Leile Yontav Rishon, the first night. So says the Gemara, I know it. Mar be'ani Leile Yontav Hachroin. Why? Sheyesh simcha lefanav. A very interesting svara. The last night of Yontif, when you go into Shmini Atzeres, what are you going into Shmini Atzeres from? From Yontif. So I rather include that umoitziani and exclude Leile Yontif Rishon she'ein simcha lefanav, that there's no simcha in front of it. So this is, again, I don't want to rate Gemaras, but this is of the more fascinating ideas. I want to speak it out outside, and then we're going to see a Rashi together.
Yeah, but you're going the first night out. It's nothing like it.
Oh, avada. So meaning what you're pointing out is, and in terms of Gemara, we would say like Milsa de Joshale or Chavivale. We'd say like a svara like that. You're pointing out that if you're in the world of svara, well, we like that thing. Very good. This is mamish. Yes, it's mamish the nikud that we're pointing out. So let's just look at what the Gemara is saying. The Gemara is saying that we're trying to figure out. The Mishnah taught us day 8 or 8 days have a din of simcha. What does simcha mean? Carbon shlamim. By us, it means basar v'yayin, but we're in Beis Hamikdash right now. Carbon shlamim. Says Gemara, how do you know? We know. We know v'samachta b'chagecha, but v'samachta b'chagecha is put right next door to b'sukkos teishvu. How many days sukkos teishvu? Shivas yamim. So sukkos teishvu shivas yamim. V'samachta b'chagecha. Okay, so simcha is 7 days. How do you know simcha is 8 days? Says Gemara, v'yisa ach sameach. Oh, givaldik. V'yisa ach sameach. What does that come? So ach stops. Okay, we have to know what that means, but it stops something, so it includes something. So now the Gemara says, so how do you know? How do you know to include the last night and exclude the first night? Maybe fakert, maybe the other way. So Gemara says a svara. So it comes out something so incredible. If you want to know why on day 8 of Yantif is there a din of simcha, it's a svara. There's no pasuk. Because from the pasuk itself, we don't know what it means. Maybe the pasuk is including the first night, maybe the pasuk is including the 8th night. Says Gemara svara. And what's the svara? Svara is because it makes more sense to include the 8th night because there's simcha in front of it. Whereas the first night doesn't have simcha in front of it, so it doesn't make sense to include it. And as
I mean, there's no simcha. You're not the simcha.
no, there's no simcha, there's no yontif. Meaning the first night you're coming from where? You come from Erev Yontif. There's no din of simcha on Erev Yontif. Whereas on day 8, there's a din of simcha on day 7, so you're coming from a din of simcha. But obviously asking, come on, if we're going the world of svara, come on, let's just be honest. When's there more simcha? There's more simcha the first night because it says something gishmak. It's a good kasha. I mean, it's a kasha because if we're in the world of svara, it's almost like mechatesi. But
But is there?
yeah.
But there's no pasuk for Shmini Atzeres that's a Yom Tif at all. So it's not like there's no source for it other than what we're learning now. There's no other source for it.
What's your question? We're trying to figure out the din of Yontif.
You know, Shmini-
Let's look at Rashi. Let's look at Rashi for a moment before we move on. Says Rashi, L'rabois leile Yom Tov achron, l'simcha shelafanav. It includes the last night of Yontif with the simcha in front of it. L'koiloloi, to include it, im shivas yamim. We know the Torah says there's 7 days of Sukkot, and next door to that it says you should have Simcha. So we're including Vayisa Ach Sameach, includes it on the thing beforehand. Sheyizvach Shlamim B'Shvi K'dei Lechol, to eat the carbon leil Shmini on the 8th night. The Hay Sameach L'mayasa. Why does the Torah say Vayisa Ach Sameach? What does it teach us? L'mayasa. I'm in the middle of a Rashi. Kim Dechsev Le'elmin. You already know V'samach V'chagecha. So you know what the extra simcha is? El rabbis, it's including something. So first of all, Rashi just gave us a little bit more of a context what's going on over here again. The Torah says v'samach v'chagecha. Torah says v'yisach sameach. Torah, you just have extra ink. What's going on over here? You already told me v'samach v'chagecha. V'yisan, you shall be only holy. You already told me to be only happy. You already told me to be happy. So there's an extra pasuk comes to include something. So now the question is, what does it come to include? And on that, the Gemara says, a svara, that it comes to include the 8th night. Avi, I do like your question, once we're in the world of the svara, but that's what the Gemara says. So we're going to take the Gemara and move with it. Says the Mishnah. Sukkah. And just we Rabbi Yaakov Menachem, the executive decision was, we know that we didn't do a good chazara. The executive decision is that we have a week till Chanukah, so we're going to see till we get to till Chanukah, and then over Chanukah we're going to have probably a week, depending on the days of Chanukah. I don't know, a week and a half, that we're going to go back and we're going to make a mandatory chazara with a dust, maybe a party afterwards. We'll figure it out. Good. Says the Mishnah, Sukkah Shiva Ketzad. Sukkah Shiva Ketzad. Sukkah Shiva Ketzad. Anyone know what in the world that means?
Well, to go back to our first Mishnah over here.
Sukkah Shiva.
On the 7th day, when do you stop eating?
Oh, good. So you looked at the next words in the Mishnah, which is good. Meaning, Sukkah Shiva, we just learned that the Sukkah is for 7 days. You're right, Rabbi Nachman. We had a whole discussion. What about Shmini Atzeres, Sveikat Yoma, Yesukah, Neisukah?
No, I'm going all the way back to our first Mishnah of the parak.
That what? That we said Sukkah.
Oh,
Oh, meaning, very good. Oh, you're just saying this is, we never explained what the word in the Mishnah means. Good. But you're right. The question is, what's the question? Sukkah Shiva. It means you're in the Sukkah for 7 days. What's your kasha? But let's see. Says the Mishnah, Galmar Mila Echol. If you finish eating on day 7, Loi Yatir Es Sukasa. You cannot, Yatir literally means untie. You cannot untie your sukkah. This means dismantle in English. You cannot dismantle your sukkah. Can't dismantle your sukkah. You finished eating. So why not? You finished eating. Shana Rabbah. You finished the Suda. Again, we're in Eretz Yisrael right now. So we're going into a real Shmini Atzeres, which is not going to have a sukkah. Forget it. Let's not get caught up in what's going on here in Chosarts. So you finish eating on a Shana Rabbah. So what's the problem? Take down the sukkah.
Well, we just said you need it on Shmini Atzeres. So.
No, but again, that's in Chosarts. Go in without Sveik Diyam. No Sveik Diyam. In Eretz Yisrael.
No, but then you say even Eretz Yisrael, you still have Shmini Atzeres, no?
But in Eretz
Not-
Yisrael,
Just start, whatever.
no, but there's no sukkah. That was the whole sukkah that we had. That's where it's a pure. We always get confused where we are, where they are. If it's a real Shmini Atzeres, which is Simchas Torah, then there's no sukkah because then it's its own yontif. That's the Ereg of the Yatzah. In our world, we need a sukkah. Yeah. Oh, why is it muksa? Because you need to sukkah for 7 days.
You're going from 7 into 8.
But when-
There's no
once-
matzah yamtiv.
Once you
Isn't it
finish
Baltais?
it,
Isn't it like
once you finish it, no, forget it. We're not going in. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You finish your Shana Rabbah Suda. The Gansatish is over. 2 p.m.
Living in your house?
Yeah. So what do you mean? What do you mean?
It's 7 days now. Yeah.
Oh, good. So look at Rashi.
Take a nap.
Good. Look at Rashi. Very good. Everyone look at Rashi together. Lo yatir asukasei. Zak Rashi, the very end of the narrow lines. Lo yatir agodim shala. Don't take off the tyings. Again, this is if your sukkah was tied. L'saisra, to dismantle it. Da'kol hayoim chayvasa. The whole day you have an obligation, lishon, to sleep, ulishanein, and to learn. V'i ikla le'su udasa. We're yidden. What happened? Someone knocks on the door. Happy Shana Rabbah. Here's a nacha piece of us. There you go. Ochala b'gava. There you go. You have to have the potential to eat there. Moiridik.
the same amount of time, you don't need it anymore. It's already Yom Tov.
And then it's over. Correct. But now, but says the Mishnah, Moiridik a chiddush. Yeah, I'm sorry.
What about the designation part? You're designating the sukkah for the 7 days.
So this
The
is
sukkah's
all
finished.
again. This is one big circle. That's what obviously. It's
No,
one
but
big.
the 7-day doesn't end until.
So it's one big circle.
Right.
If
I'm saying it's in
Oh.
addition to what we just said. You can also say
no, but that is the same
it's
reason. It's
designated
no,
for
it's a
the
circle. It's a circle. We're saying the same circle. You're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's designated for the yontif for when you need it.
right.
Let's say
Again,
Let's say there was a din that when you finish a Shana Rabbah, the Suda, the Chiyuv ends. Let's just say there was such a din. And Rabbi, what do you mean? What if I go have a snack? Who cares?
Right.
Your Chiyuv ended. Then the designation, good.
So with lulav, you have
Good.
that. And once it's
Good.
done,
Exactly.
it's done.
That's a perfect raya. That was, and then
Well, it's katzor.
I would go into the conversation. Is it kol hayoim iskatzoi or is it lemitzvah? Very good. Very good.
To go on, obviously, when's it also be muktzah?
Very good. It's all the same detail, but it's a circle. Why would it be muksa? Because you still need to use it. If I don't need to use it, it wouldn't be muksa. Unless, go back. Unless we had the whole sugya, right? What's the story with the lulav? Is it kol hayoim? Is it for the whole day, or is it just for the mitzvah?
Why wouldn't it be muktzah?
So it's not yontif right now. It's not yontif. It's cholamite. It's cholamite. Now it's true. Even a cholamite things have a quasi muksa, but it's only as long as you're using it. It would be like lulav. Remember we had a whole discussion in Sovini Chazara. We spoke about what happens when you finish your lulav. Are you allowed to eat it? What? So we had 2 shitas. Either it's just the mitzvah, or it's for the whole day designated.
No, but sukkah, it's always
That-
the whole day.
That's the chiddush of our Mishnah. Very good. But says the Mishnah, aval.
The pop-up sukkahs, you gotta collapse it?
So whatever, we have to talk about it. There's a terrible misconception with the whole you're not allowed to build your sukkah on Cholamayid. The world went crazy. The same misconception about you're not allowed to touch your decorations on Yontif.
It has to hang.
It's a we'll get there. Aval, but says the Mishnah Chiddush. Moirid es hakelim, you take down the utensils min hamincha ulamala, from mincha and onward. Mipnei, because kavod yomtiv achron shel chag, the honor of the last day of Sukkot. What does that mean? Zok Rashi. Aval moirid hu es hakelim, you take down the kelim, v'esamatzos, and the beds, shenish tamish behen b'seicha, that you used inside the sukkah. Kiditanya, as we learned in the second parak. Hayiloi kelim nam, if you have beautiful kelim and you have beautiful beds, what are you supposed to do with them? You bring it to the sukkah. So at the end of the day, you bring them all inside. Why do you bring them inside?
No one gets stolen.
Oh, so that's what I would have said. So it's just practical. You're just giving us like it's a taiva.
You should have the dirty.
Oh, why?
But
So says the Mishnah, they covered Yom Tov Achroin. Shemara, you show. You show when right before you leave to the shul, you take everything out of the sukkah. You show kimechin atzmai likroisai, that you're preparing to call the makim sheyisaydes halayla. You're preparing for tonight. Bisman Chazal, you took your dining room table into the sukkah. So if you're leaving the sukkah, what's going to happen when you come home
You're
from
not-
shul tonight?
You're not gonna have a
You're not going to have a dining room table. And then you're going to start getting from the sukkah. Zach chutzpah.
So it's not a Isser preparing for the next Yom Tov?
It's chomad. It's chomad. It's chomad. It's chomad. It's chomad. It's great. There's this incredible Mishnah Buras. Ask really what your question is. What do we do in Chutz La'aretz? What about Lamaisa here? We're in our sukkah on Shmini Atzar.
Right.
So now, but what about the din of that you have to show covered for the last day of Yom Tov? So you're allowed to bring in your table? Ayachana. Good question. Incredible Mishnah Bura.
But nowadays,
Time right now.
multiple
Oh,
days.
nowadays most people don't take their, I don't know, most people, many people don't take their dining room table in. They have a
Yeah,
sukkah
not-
desk.
No, but
Correct.
I'm saying back in the day,
Yeah.
it was mamish.
Right.
It was a
We don't
nice
have
thing to
that.
bring your dining. You
Right.
bring all your stuff.
course.
We don't do that.
Yeah,
People make it nice.
People do bring in. People bring in different items, and the question is, would you be allowed to bring it in on Yom Tov, or is that kol achana for the second day? So Meir take a kasha. It's gonna be a Meir to make Mishnah Bura that
For
we're
those that
going to
sleep
get
in the
there.
sukkah, then how are you gonna sleep?
For those who sleep in the sukkah,
I'm saying sleeping in the sukkah, right?
yeah,
Now how are you gonna sleep? How are you gonna sleep in your house?
same thing.
That
Okay.
night you have to take it.
Correct,
You have to take it to bed.
Right.
Right. in the last
Oh, but that's in our world. Good. So now, like guys, let's just see the next line of the Gemara. It's a Meir line. I know that we didn't have time for Chazar, but we're going to Shabbos. Let's just see the last line. Says the Gemara, "Ein lo kelim lahayrin mahu." What if you don't have any kelim to take out of your sukkah? A great question, right? Ask the Gemara. What if you don't have kelim? Says the Gemara, "Ein lo kelim." Elki yishtamish b'mai. So what are you using in your sukkah? Elki yishtamish b'mai yishtamish. Says the Gemara, "Ein lo makim lahayrin kelim." Okay, well, I just wanted to show the Gemara's Gishmak Lashon. Well, we'll start for the Gemara next week. Let's try to get at least starting a chazar over Shabbos because we're slowly losing. We're losing chazaras over here.